At the beginning of 1943, the Sherman was cementing itself as the primary tank of the Allies, with the US, British, Canadian, Australian, and New Zealand armies all using them. However, it became apparent that the 75mm M3 gun currently equipped needed to be improved in order to remain a match for the new German tanks. Around this time, the new British 17-pounder was also beginning to prove itself an effective panzer killer, and people began thinking of mounting it on a tank. The pairing of the 17-pounder and the Sherman was originally rejected by the Ministry of Supply's Tank Decision Board, since tanks like the cruiser Mark A. Cromwell and the A-30 Challenger were already about to enter trials. However, with the perseverance of two officers, Major George Brady and Lieutenant Colonel Withridge, as well as a connection to General Raymond Briggs, allowed for an official approval and funding. There were a number of design changes made to the Firefly to separate it from the regular Sherman. The changes were made by W.G.K. Kilbourne, a Vickers engineer. The first problem he encountered was how to get a gun to fit into a turret it couldn't fit in. A few attempts had been made before Kilbourne even began to work on the tank, like a complete removal of the recoil system, but these attempts obviously failed. Kilbourne decided to shorten the recoil cylinders while adding more of them to the other side of the tank, taking advantage of the space in the turret. The gun also had to be rotated 90 degrees to fit inside. Even with the lower recoil, the radio still got in the way, and with nowhere else to put it, a hole was cut in the back of the turret and the radio was placed in an armored bustle. A new mantlet also had to be designed to fit the gun. The final major change to the turret was a gunner hatch was added due to the gun preventing a quick escape for the gunner if the tank was hit. The hull remained unchanged mostly, except for the spot for the assistant driver being removed in order to place an extra ammo rack. The project was given top priority by Winston Churchill, and an order of 2,100 was placed. The tanks which were given 17-pounders had a C placed at the end of their name, for example Sherman VC or Sherman IC, though soldiers would call them Fireflies due to the brightness of the muzzle flash. The Firefly was ready for service just in time to participate in Operation Overlord and quickly proved very effective against German Panthers and Tigers. The Germans took note of this, however, and soon Fireflies were top priority targets. To get around this, Firefly crews would paint the end of their barrel with a special camouflage to attempt to confuse the German tank crews into thinking they were regular Shermans. While it may seem like an ineffective solution up close, keep in mind the tanks were usually engaging each other from over a kilometer away, unless they were somewhere like an urban environment. Fireflies were also used more as tank destroyers rather than assault tanks, with commanders often keeping them back at top vantage points to support the regular Shermans pushing forward. This gave the Firefly an overall better survival rate than a regular Sherman. The Firefly would show the Germans correctly feared it, with many tales like that of Firefly Commander Lieutenant G.K. Henry, with his Firefly knocking out 5 advancing Panthers with just 6 shots. The Firefly was also believed to be responsible for taking out the legendary Panzer ace Michael Witten. After the Normandy campaign was over, some Fireflies were sent to help out on the Italian front. Fireflies were used for the remainder of the war and ultimately ended up cementing their place as one of the most effective and best known variants of the Sherman. In the end, there were over 2,000 Fireflies in service from the Second World War used by the Allies, with some remaining in service until the 1980s. They were retired by the British in 1945, being succeeded by Comets and Centurions. In the end, the Sherman Firefly was extremely successful and improved sometimes. The best solution is also the easiest. Thank you for watching the video. If you want to learn more about British tanks, be sure to check out the video about the Crusader tank I helped make over at Armchair History, as well as my last video on the Romanian IAR 80 and 81. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like, it really helps the channel out. And if not, comment below on what you think I could improve for next time. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.